So I finally was able to play Kingdom Hearts Recoded, and I can say it was an experience. The story, the gameplay, and the uniqueness that it had was something else. But sadly, even with this uniqueness, it does come with some problems. Being released on the Nintendo DS, it was another game that I ignored from the Cave series. Maybe I was one of those kids that was more so waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 to be released, and then come to find out we got a discounted version, which was basically Dream Drop Distance. Anyways, Recoded was a game that was first released on mobile as an episodic game called just Coded, before the gang at Square decided to remake the game and fit it with the style of 358 over 2 days. And obviously it ends up playing a little bit similar to like a Kingdom Hearts 1 Nintendo DS version, but you'll probably understand that. Anyways, hey there guys, my name is Pika. Welcome to a new video of PikaViews, and today's we're going to be taking a look at Kingdom Hearts Recoded. So sit back, relax, get your internet based and data RAM ready as we dive in to the next Kingdom Hearts installment, Kingdom Hearts Recoded. So before we get started into talking about the game, let's actually talk about the story real quick. As I mentioned, this is obviously a Kingdom Hearts game, so it's going to end up having some story elements. So if you kind of want to end up skipping the story, I wouldn't really, blame you. I'll probably end up putting a timestamp just so you can end up avoiding the story entirely. But considering the fact that this game is super friggin' old, if you haven't really played it yet and you haven't seen it in the synopsis of Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, I have no idea I don't know what's wrong with you. Anyways, let's move on. Since Kingdom Hearts Recoded is a remake of the mobile game, the story was untouched, but the gameplay loop is more of a chapter by chapter based game with a chance of going back when you want to search for more goodies. The story Recoded takes you on the journey of Jiminy, Mickey, Donald, Goofy trying to solve a message in the Kingdom Hearts 1 journal. Asking Chip and Dale for help, they were able to create a digitized Sora since, they're trying to scan the message was literally blocked by bug blocks. Man, the Disney Universe viruses are nuts. Anyways, with the digitized Sora, with his digitized Keyblade, we get to call back to KH1, having the same drop down and choosing your weapon, and you start your first world being Destiny Island. And it's Sora's job to cleanse the journal of bugs by solving the mystery as to why the blocks are on the island. Asking for help, Sora finds a keyhole in the secret area. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure appears before Sora, spouts some random message before vanishing. Sora is told to use his Keyblade so he can unlock what is known as the Boss Door. These doors are mainly the end goal for each world you visit in the game. The boss fights here is of course Darkseid, because whenever there's an island called Destiny, you're destined to fight Darkseid. After the defeat of Darkseid, just like in KH1, Sora is transported to Traverse Town, but not before the gang sees Riku talking to some cloaked figure, which is odd since Jiminy shouldn't known anything about that. Must be a glitch. Anyways, the gang finds Sora again and finds that he's of course in Traverse Town. The town is also filled with bug blocks as well, and Sora must help Sid find the three Duck brothers, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. As Sora is finding them, they each give Sora a key fragment that allows Sora to use the Keyblade to reveal the keyhole to the boss. Now, Darkseid was fought the same, except if you want to add in the weird block variation, but it's still basically the same exact boss. But Guard Armor is fought like a 2D side-scroller boss fight. Pretty interesting, but I will admit it's a bit weird in how you progress through it. After you take out Guard Armor, you head to the next world in KH1 universe, Wonderland. Now here you'll mostly be helping out Alice. She has lost her memories and unable to help us until we can find all of her Inkling memories. Sora goes around the Wonderland world and find the Inklings that can help recover Alice's memories, allowing Sora to be able to find the next keyhole. Now, unlike the other two bosses who were fought normally, the Trickmaster, however, is fought in a shoot-'em-up style. Yeah, it's another gameplay shift, don't worry, they won't stop doing this. Trickmaster does use some tricky tactics by turning the game around and kind of making you a little bit queasy, but it's not really that hard of a fight. After Wonderland, Sora ends up following a mysterious figure again, but this time he ends up where Mickey and the others are. And meanwhile, Riku ends up joining the fray. But more so says he's part of Jiminy's journal, while the gang finds out that they were basically transferred into the cyber world by some mysterious means. With Riku introducing himself, Sora heads to the next world, which is Olympus Coliseum. And remember, as I said, that the whole gameplay changed? Well, this time around, we have sort of an old style RPG in Kingdom Hearts. Welcome to Olympus's gimmick. You are in an RPG style gameplay when fighting the Heartless. You get a few deck commands and a few boosts to help you through the fight overall. You're teamed up with Cloud and Hercules, and you try to stop Hades and his pet Cerberus. After the defeat, Sora runs into Pete, as we find out that he was also eavesdropping but end up getting transferred into the cyber world as well. Mickey ends up tasking Sora to end up chasing after Pete but ends up in Agrabah. Here Pete helps out Jafar by giving him a digitized lamp, and Jafar uses the lamp to freeze all of Agrabah. You don't see this in the movie version of the game, but in the game you mostly try to find Iago before time runs out. Once you find the red bird, you summon Genie from the real lamp and he grants Sora a free wish to unfreeze Agrabah, but another wish to allow Sora to find Jafar as well. Sora, once again in the Cave of Wonders, cornered Jafar before having a sort of similar fight from Kingdom Hearts 1. Of course, after the first phase, Jafar, it's never skipped a dim day, Genie Jafar. We trap him in the lamp once again, and we meet up with both Pete and his boss Maleficent. As she, of course, is almighty in magic, proceeds to break Sora's Keyblade before his very eyes. Before doing a final strike, Mickey and Riku come into the rescue. This, however, causes both Pete and Maleficent to wound and kidnap Riku, as he still has some darkness in him, and they proceed to head to Hollow Bastion. Mickey explains to Sora that his Keyblade was made, and sadly they are unable to give him another one. Should have backed up that save data, huh? Anyways, Sora without a Keyblade goes to Hollow Bastion anyways to give chase to Pete. This, of course, is like the similar time of Kingdom Hearts 1, but without a wooden sword. Would have been nice to have that, but you have to use items to heal yourself since Cure is used with the Keyblade, and can't be used just by saying the word heal, and I guess that would have been make a little bit more sense now, huh? After you get to the main stairs, Pete swarms Sora with Heartless, and before they can swarm him even further, Donald and Goofy help him out and defend their buddy as they travel alongside him. I do like this since your attacks are now turned into Donald and Goofy help commands. Ah yes, commands. You probably heard me plenty of times of probably saying that. I should probably mention how the gameplay for Recoded is, huh? Well, if you like Birth by Sleep, then good, you'll fit right at home here. Throughout the course of the game, your combat is using the command deck and your basic attacks to defeat your opponents. You have three things that you need to look out in the menu. The stat matrix, which allows you to level up Sora and his abilities. This is also the place where you can adjust the difficulty and the drop rates and levels for your command moves. This of course comes with a risk. You will nerf Sora and increase the enemies in the game, so be warned by that. The next thing is, of course, is the command matrix. This allows you to customize and give Sora the moves that he can be able to use in battle. Similar to Birth by Sleep, you have cooldowns on them, and the stronger moves will end up having a higher cost. Which brings me to the most interesting thing about Recoded. The commands do have a cost, otherwise known as memory. If you fill up the memory bar, you are unable to get out of the menu and aren't unable to continue the game until you end up fixing it. Command melding is also in the game, but it's a bit different, unlike in Birth by Sleep, where you can combine two of the same elements and get the better version. In Recoded, it's more so conversion. It's still command melding, but on a more, you need to get other things before you can end up getting a better version of the move. The game does show you which command can be mixed in the game, but at times you might not be paying attention to it. Just know that the hint is that if you see yellow text, this yellow text means that you'll probably end up getting a new move. Whether or not the move is good is a bit of a debate, because I will end up admitting I'm not really a fan of the moves in Recoded. Maybe because it's on a DS, that probably has something to do with it. I don't know. Consider the fact that, the next game after this is Dream Drop Distance, and I feel that the commands are just a little bit better there than they are here. And since I was not really using a guide fully, I couldn't really figure out what moves were good or what moves sucked in the game. So that was basically my own issue. And some are unfortunately just copy and paste of just different types of elements of the same move. But that's not going to really dock points, because to be fair, I don't have the prior knowledge of it. Other people who probably dive deep into the game probably end up having a much better knowledge, and that's very respectable and very understandable. But from my first impression, I actually did not like the command melding system at all. The gear matrix system is the other menu that you'll be looking at, and this allows you to end up equipping Sora with different types of keyblades, finishers, and also accessories. Yeah, this game actually has accessories, unlike Birth by Sleep. The Keyblade has abilities that will show in battle. The Olympia is a very heavy weapon, but can end up being swinged very slowly. It's a nice detail and something that they don't do in the original Kingdom Hearts game where Olympus actually exists. and the Oblivion saps your health but allows you to do more damage. The finishers can stem from Sora doing more on his own or Step Mania type minigames. Finishers are only usable once Sora reaches Overclock, which is a system similar to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep's command finisher. The only difference is that it's not really structured in a way where it's allows you to change it to a command style. No, you just literally get different types of buffs depending on which Keyblade that you have equipped. And last but not least, you also have the accessory slot, which allows you to obviously end up buffing Sora with benefits that can end up negating status effects or ends up increasing one of his stats. I should mention the way how the stat matrix level works. As you fight more and more Heartless, you will gain a level up chip. The chip is used to level Data Sora up, but there are other chips that you can find throughout the world or in the zones that is part of the game, the Matrix Zone, which is what I'm going to call it. These little floor by floor areas allow Sora to undergo some battles which throughout the game you will need to beat these to progress the story. But they're not just here for story reasons, they are also where 90% of your stat chips will be at. When you defeat enemies or destroy blocks in the area, you will receive points that you can end up redeeming that allows you to obtain accessories or stat upgrades. Later down the road, the game will end up prompting challenges that you can wager some of your points with the chance of gaining even more points. I recommend doing these as this will basically net you better upgrades and otherwise need for later fights. Trust me, this game can be a bit difficult, especially with the later fights that you end up having to deal with. But not only of this, but this will also allow you to reach abilities, because unlike Birth by Sleep, where the little crystals that you can end up mixing together with the command meld that will end up giving you an ability, Recoded, you have to reach an ability node to allow Sora to learn abilities such as scan, dodge roll, and combo pluses. This can be a negative for some. And the reason why I say this is because you're not going to know what node will give you an ability that is useful. The grid doesn't really end up showcasing that until you reach it. The grid does grow, however. It does grow as you end up progressing through the story, but with the multiple branching pathways and the occasional blocks that you're going to have to destroy with a certain particular item, it can be a little bit of a crapshoot if you end up getting an ability that you truly do not want. But like I said, it's a nice system that allows you to make Sora powerful enough to take on the world. Moving on, after explaining all of that, Donald and Goofy are used as a replacement for your ways of attacking. So it was a bit laughable for me because I actually didn't know that you had to actually have your attack commands to be able to allow Donald and Goofy to attack. So I kind of spent like a good 20 or 15 minutes in Hollow Bastion trying to get through areas on my own and just trying to let Donald and Goofy use their basic attacks. That was a bad mistake on my end, but you end up having like moves that range AoE attacks or utilizing magic to end up defeating most of the rooms. There's a point in the game where you take both Goofy and Donald in the Matrix Zone, and I should mention they also have block attack and enemy attack. Since you can't really destroy the blocks with your hands, because God forbid Sora ever uses his actual hands to fight anything, Donald and Goofy can help out with this. Once you have collected the fragments of hearts once again, you can proceed to find Pete. Once you find Pete, he will proceed to try to crush Sora with bug blocks, but thanks to the duo, they help out Sora and are about to get crushed themselves. Sora gets a talking to by the duo and is able to summon the power of friendship to conjure up a new Keyblade of his own. This of course surprises Pete, but does not really surprise me at all in the slightest because A, it's Kingdom Hearts, and to be fair, at this point, every mofo ends up having a Keyblade, so the digitized version of Sora having one, not really that much of a shock to me. Sora gives chase to Pete and does battle with him. After taking him down easily, Sora is then put to battle against Riku. Once we take him out, Pete manages to escape while we have to restore both Sora and Riku's original strength. This is part of the game where you have to go across the old worlds, except for Olympus, to gather data to end up regaining both Riku and Sora's strength. You start back at level 1, and as you progress, Sora will further get stronger. I would say this part of the game was not fun for me, mainly because A, it feels like padding, and 2, I don't really like the block type enemies. The lightning bolt variations, to be specific. There are lightning bolt variation blocks that you can find, and touching these will basically end up allowing you to take contact damage. Problem is, If you have one that is an enemy base that can easily end up cornering you into the corner and you're unable to get out, it's kind of bad. I don't know, maybe you could probably get out of it. All I know is that the only way to defeat them is by utilizing magic or distant type of attacks, but if you end up trying to use attacks that look like they can hit them from a distance, chances are you're probably going to end up taking damage. After you restore Sora's power, you fight Riku once again and one final time, completing Hollow Bastion for good. Mickey and friends head back to their world, but not before Sora has to save Pete and Maleficent from a heartless, bugged out Sora. But once you end up taking out that, congrats, you completed Recoded! Haha, yay, you wish! Anyways, after saying your goodbyes, what feels like an ending, trust me, it really does feel like an ending is about to come up, the gang says the most relatable line ever.
Hey, you know, we never did figure out that mysterious message.
Yes, Goofy, we did not learn anything about the goddamn message. You know, the bloody thing we were trying to question throughout the start of the game? What about that message, huh? Seriously, they do not solve this after like 5 or whatever amount of hours it takes you to get here. So what happens next is that they recreate another Sora because this other Sora that we use is kind of like sort of like deleted or whatever. And Mickey goes to the Digi world to be able to explain the situations that happened throughout the adventure. Sora's like, whatever, I don't understand what's going on, and he ends up going into Castle Oblivion. Here, this is where the game kind of ends up having our dear Sora deal with a bunch of questions and also losing memories and also trying to figure out the task of hurt and all that other nonsense. Mainly because the mysterious figure, who is Roxas, because let's just be real here, the movie doesn't really try to hide it, explains how the castle works and what Sora will be dealing with. As Sora ends up questioning and finding answers, Roxas will slowly start to get enraged a bit about Sora's optimism, since Sora does not understand the crap Roxas has dealt with. But after the scrap, they both come to terms with each other. Roxas slips inside the boy's body, and after that, Mickey and Sora ends up meeting with Naminé, who proceeds to tell us that the whole point of this game was to see if Sora was ready for the major task that is about to come to him in Kingdom Hearts 3. Or Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, I don't know, whichever one they want to actually pick. But the thing is though, I like this. I'm a sucker for when it comes to video games that are tied in story elements that ends up re-showing characters that you have basically dealt with. Except for 358. You know, it's so weird that I don't really have like that attachment to 358 cast, but I actually still like the 358 cast. So I like that they show Terra, Aqua, Ventus, along with Axel, Roxas, and Xion as well. It's pretty nice. Naminé also mentions that Diz put something inside Sora, but you're not going to find out about that until DDD. And that's it. That's actually the end of Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Mickey ends up writing a letter to Sora explaining that he's got a lot of things riding on him. No pressure though, but he's got a lot of things that he's gonna have to deal with, but no pressure though. The thing is though, it's a pretty interesting story once you get to the end. The halfway point of the story is basically Sora just going from world to world. Maybe because the story structure is like, it's supposed to be episodic. It's not supposed to be played in like a one sitting type of game. But unfortunately, Recoded does end up having that same similar issue that maybe 358 also had, where the camera can be a little bit of a problem. You can pan the camera out, but considering the fact that, like I said, it's basically a Nintendo DS of Kingdom Hearts 1, you probably will end up having a bit of issue. You're probably wondering what's the secret ending and how you're supposed to get it. Well, they kind of do this whole trophy system, and the only way to get the secret ending in the game, you kind of have to go ahead and get the trophies to be able to unlock it. The secret ending is just a hint to Dream Drop Distance, where Sora and Riku are called upon by Mickey to be able to take the Mark of Mastery. And they also added another secret ending, which I'm gonna be honest with you, makes no sense to have because of the fact that Dream Drop Distance has already came out by this point, and the movie Recoded doesn't even come out until you end up getting the release date of 2.5. So the fact that they even have this ending makes no sense. Like, it's probably here just for the means for people who are getting into the series, and that's fine. But me, who's already basically been playing this series since the day of dawn it was released, this secret ending means nothing to me. It's cool, but it still doesn't mean anything to me. So yeah, that's it for Recoded. I can say that I enjoyed what I enjoyed. It was a good game. It was alright. It wasn't really that good, bad. It was a game. That's all I can say. It was a game. But yeah, apologies for taking this long. I am trying to find footing and all that other juncture. But that's neither here or there. That is the end of this video of PikaViews of Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Until next time, folks, the next thing that we'll look at in the Kingdom Hearts universe will be Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. I've been Pika. Hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care of yourselves. See yas!